Okay, so I wanted to take some time and build some crates. So here's a crate that one of the students has. Okay, and it's kind of a boring crate, but we can texture it later and make it non-boring. Okay, and I can tell this is not one. These are different crates because you can see that this crate has a fillet around this edge here, whereas this one does not. So these are not the exact same crate. So, but it's a good basis for us to start with. Okay, so we've got the dimensions here. So we'll start off with just creating a box. Okay, and then let's just put us a physical material on this. And this can start. All right, so let's go in here, and it's a pretty small box too, because it says that it's 18 inches. So we'll go 2 feet, and then that's 1 foot 6 inches. Okay, let's see the height. So it's going to be 9.5. So 9.5, and the length is 12.5. So 1 and 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to center this now, so it's centered in our workplace. Okay, so that is the proportions of the box, and you can see the proportions of this box and this box. These are different, okay, but we'll just, we're going to go off what they posted was the size of it. Okay, at this point, I can go ahead and just convert this to an editable poly, and then what I want to do is detach all these edges. So I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to detach this, and I'll call this top. Okay, this is, let's see, that's the front, yeah. So we'll detach that. That's going to be the front. And this will be the back. So I'll detach that back. And this is the left end. So detach that. Left end. And then this will be the right, detach that. That's going to be the right end. If I can spell. Okay, and then this box will be the bottom. Okay, so got all this together, and then I'm just going to go ahead and create a layer for this, and this is the, come on, be that way. Okay, this is the crate. Okay, all right, we'll start with the right side, and so I'm just going to hide unselected. So this is our right side, and I'm going to say that I'm going to go from this one. This is what I'm going to kind of use as my basis. So right side, okay. Now, so what we can do here is initially I think I'm going to grab these two edges, and then I'm going to do a connect with that. And I don't want to do this because this has holes in it. So we've got 4 boards, 3 holes. So that would be, how am I going to do this? I think maybe what I'll do is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I'm going to go with that. As a matter of fact, I think what I'll do is put an edit poly on top of this. So I'm going to put an edit poly on top. And I'm going to use that to connect with it. Okay, connect. And 7 was our magic number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there we go. Okay, so looks like what I need to do now is maybe grab this one, and this one. And then I'm going to scale them, and I need to tell it to scale from their centers. And then I can scale this to make those skinnier. So now I'm making this board with that skinny slot in it. And I'm just guessing what it is, and I'm thinking it's something like that. Okay. All right, so all right, from there I can, okay, this is kind of a trick thing. We're going to do trick things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick these, and then I'm going to put a delete mesh on it, which will delete that. And then I can put a shell on this, and I'm going to want it to go backwards, not forwards, and I'll give it some thickness there. And there are those boards. Okay. All right, so let's make the end board. Okay, so let's go to the left end. So we're going to go here. And I'm going to hide that front. So we'll go here. And this is one piece. And you can tell this is a thicker board than those, which is fine. So I need to get this hole in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the right side. And then I'm going to use, I think I'll use a spline. I'm just going to do a circle. And I'm just trying to get the scale about right to this. So that looks about right. I think what I'm going to do here is make my life easier. And go get this over here. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put an edit spline on top of this, and then I can come in here and I can split these two. So I'm going to grab these two and hit this break. Some things call it split, some call it break, according to what tool we're using. So I'm just going to move this out till I think I'm getting a kind of proportion to that. And then I'm going to have my snap on here. I'm going to right click on my snap. It's on vertex. That's what I want. And then I'm going to go right over here, create line. And I'm going to create a line from here to there. It's going to ask if I want to weld it. It doesn't matter whether we do or not because we're going to have to weld this anyway, but we'll say yes. And we'll go here and we'll say yes. And now what I can do on this is put an extrude on this. And I can extrude this. Now, this is what I wanted to show you where I was saying we need to weld it anyway. Can you see how this is hollow? That's because it's not, let's see, we're on the right side. Because it's not a complete piece, okay? So if I was to grab one of these corners, and you'll see it's not complete. It's easy to fix. We just select all the points and we're going to hit weld, and we can just use the default, which is coincident with vertices, which are vertices that are on top of each other. So now when I turn this extrude on, you'll see it's actually got thickness to it now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's turn my snap off, and then I can slide this back. And let's get on the top. Zoom in on it. It needs to be like this. And let's go to the right side. Okay, and then I'm going to move it into place. We want to have that wire on so we can see it. And I turn that grid off. Okay, so we're going to say that it's going to be somewhere right about there. Okay, so now I'm going to pick this side, and we're going to put a Boolean modifier on it. And the Boolean allows us to take two objects and have them interact some way. We can have them join together or merge them. There's lots, what's left over. A lot of different ways. What we're going to do is use it as a cutting tool. Okay, so I can click right here, and then I can pick this, and then let's see here. Okay, didn't like that because that was. I didn't like it because it was. I wonder if I could do it a different way. Okay, so since this was a plane, it didn't cut a hole in it, which is okay, because then what we'll just do is go here to edit. We'll put an edit poly on this, and then I'll grab this and we'll invert it, and then I'll put a delete mesh on it. Okay. So now I could come in here, and since this is only one piece, it's not multiple boards, I don't have to cut it anymore. So I could put a shell on this now, and I'm going to have it going. Oh, and here's the thing. You'll see that when I put this, it came going forward, even though I'm saying it to go backwards. And the reason that is let me go back down here. That this is backwards. Can you see when I pick this that it's a dark here? I need to flip this. And now delete mesh. And now it goes backwards. Okay, now I could do this a couple ways, but I think what I'm going to do is put an edit poly on this. And I'm going to go to edges. And I want to select, actually what we want to do is select this edge. All right, I want this edge out here, but it's not an easy way to select that. So if I select this and I go ring, and then I go control polygon, let's see if that will work. Put a chamfer on this. Yeah. No. Okay, so I guess what I'm going to have to do is so this way. All right, same thing. We'll go this way though. We'll select this one and this one. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work either. Same thing. So there's no easy way now that I'm going to do this is to be able to grab all these without just doing it manually. I tried. What the? All right, so we just have to do these manually. And I'll show you a trick to not lose this too, because you can easily lose these selections. And I want to make sure I'm in my selection tool up here and not move, so I don't accidentally move something. Okay, and then I need to select this side too. This is one thing I don't, that's a, all softwares have something we don't like about them. I wish it could figure out how to do that. But it's because it's quads on one side and it's an n-gon on the other. It doesn't figure that out. Okay, now that I have that selected, I'm going to make a selection set. So right up here, there's a little spot. You can go up here, and I'm going to say something like handle, hole, edges, then hit enter. And what that allows me to do is later I can come back up here and I can click that and it'll select these. Okay, so now I can turn the chamfer on and it should only go into those. So let's go back here and I'm going to turn an inset on. And I'm going to roll this. I want like 2. So I'm going to make that a little bit thicker because it's kind of a rolled, the whole thing is kind of rolled. Something like that. Now that's really what I'll do for the high poly. For the low poly, I'll turn this chamfer off, but that's how I'm going to deal with the high poly. Okay, that one's all right. And if I put another, I think if I put another edit poly on this, then I can put another chamfer on it and zero this out. No, it's going to go on that in there too. So this one's just tricky because of that hole. All right, but that's getting us in the ballpark right there. Okay, so let's see, what do we got? The front. And so the front's going to go inside of this. So see how it sits on the inside of that? So what we're going to do is come in here and I can go to these vertices right now and grab those and then slide this in like so. And then we would go back to, well, we could just slide the whole thing in there now. Just slide all that back in there like so. These should be a little bit thinner than this one, so I could make that, go to that shell and just make it a little bit thicker. Okay. And of course, we'll end up using the same piece down there, and we'll use these same pieces over here. So we just need to generate the bottom. And the bottom's the same as the sides, isn't it? Pretty much the same as the sides. Maybe we can just do that. So could we not just grab this, hold down this shift key, and I'm going to rotate it. And I'm going to rotate it. Don't have an angle snap on. I need to create that angle snap. And I'm going to say from its center and then 90 degrees right there. Okay, let's go to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has 5 boards. Whereas the side had 4. Okay, so we can just, if we go, let's try this. Let's just do an edit poly on that. And then I can go to element and I can take this element and I'll hold down the shift key and I'll drag it over I'm sorry, it's the Control Shift and copy it to a new element, and then pull this down, and let's see, and it goes below that. So let's go to the right side, and we'll pull this underneath it, like right there. Oops, sorry. We need to pull, now turn that off and pull all of them down. Okay, like that. And so this one's on the outside, so it actually needs to, weird things happening with that one. What happened there? I'll have to go back there and see what happened there. We'll come back to that. Okay, that one down below. And this one down below. So this one's going to come down. So I think what I'm going to do is just go here, and then I'll go scale, and I'll scale it up. And by the way, when you're doing that, if you go to here, now I can scale it on that axis much more accurately. Okay. And that's really all I need to create for the beginning of this box, because this can be cloned to that side and this can be cloned to that side. Let's go back and figure out what happened to this guy though. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, well, we won't do that then. I can do it here, and I can grab these vertices and pull them back, like right there. And then I go back and go to my edge and then use my selection set again. This is where this comes in handy. And then put the chamfer on there. And why is it closing up on me again? That's kind of strange. Put this on. If I zero it out. Okay, that's what it didn't like. It didn't like the inset. Oh, maybe I just needed to adjust the inset. Maybe that's the problem. Is there? Yeah, I just had that inset set too wide. Okay, so round this. Of course, I could have just done the easy thing and not rounded this, but what fun is that? What about there? Okay. And there's the parts for the low poly box. So I just hold down the shift key, copy this down to the other end. We're going to make it an instance, so whatever we do to this one, it'll do the same over there. We'll take this, hold down the shift, drag it over here. Same thing, make it an instance. And this is what I would call blocking, okay, where we're getting the basics to the shape just the way we want it. And then that's a good enough blocking of what we're going to do before we start manipulating it more. And so we can export this and bring this into Sketchfab. All right, so then we would grab the whole thing now. Of course, I did a very bad thing, and I didn't save this as I was going along. Should have been saving about every 20 minutes, which I've been going 25 minutes, so it's not too bad. Okay, so let's go File, Export, Export Selected. And let's put it, I'm just going to float it right there. Okay, this is my new crate. Okay, and then I want smoothing groups, tangent, and binormals do not turn on preserve edge orientation. Let's kick that out. What is this term? Apologies if you wish to retain edge orientation. Yeah. Okay, what this is telling me is when I turned off that edge, that's for triangulation. And if I want my triangles to be the exact same angle when they put in the game engine, then I have to turn that on. I don't really care what the game engine does to it, so right now I'm just going to leave that off. Okay, let's go bring that into Sketchfab. Okay, I'm going to bring this into Sketchfab and drag my FBX into here and tell it to upload the files. Okay, I'm going to put my name up here. So you guys should be putting your name on your work up here in the title. Okay, then we can go to view the model. And I forgot to save it. Now I'll go view the model. Okay, there it comes in. Let's go up here to my editing. And let's make it look better. So background, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. It's too bright. Something like that's fine. And that's fine for reflection. Okay, so let's go in here and give it a base color. I'm just going to make it kind of a brownish kind of color since we know it's going to be wood. So we'll just give it kind of a brownish texture for right now. And I'm going to make the roughness, I'm going to get a little bit glossy, so, and metal down. Okay, that's all good. And then I can move the light around. And so there is my basic model. And let's throw post-processing. Or wait, let's go back to lighting. Let's turn ground shadows on. And then that'll be okay. And let's go, let it fade a little bit. Okay, that looks okay. Alright, so let's frame it up. And move the light. I'm going to go maybe that looks good. Save that view. And then there we go. All right, let's look at our texture inspector so we can kind of see some things. So we go our matte cap. Let's look at our wireframe. Okay, so it's triangulated some of these, even though I told it not to. May have to look. Maybe it just doesn't like the stack. That's probably what it doesn't like. Okay, base color. Roughness, okay. Alright, so there we go. Alright, hope that helped you. Thank you. Okay, so I went in there. What I did is I went back. I didn't like this triangles it was doing, so I went back into Max and I made a copy of the crate. Okay, and then I collapsed each piece into an editable poly, so I didn't have all that stuff on the stack anymore. and then I exported that and re-brought it in, and now you'll see that it's given me back to quads again. Okay. All right. That's what I got. Thank you very much.